guys! So it's Rachel here, and this week we are going to be talking about cold readings. So basically what a cold reading is when you go to an audition or an acting workshop or something where you're going to be reading a script or a monologue, and basically you're not given the opportunity to prepare. You get it when you get to the audition, so you don't really have any time to prepare. And some of you guys have emailed and commented on my videos and stuff saying that you're going to an audition and you have to do a cold reading audition, and just asking for some tips for cold readings and how you can practice. And I've been to quite a few cold reading auditions in my days, and let me tell you, sometimes they are nerve-wracking because you don't really know what to expect. And so I thought I'd do a video all about them. So basically I've come up with a bunch of things to tell you guys about, I guess. So I got some tips like as you're preparing, as you're practicing for the audition. Got some tips for when you're there, how you can kind of impress the casting director even though you don't really know the material that well, that sort of thing. So let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, so first let's talk about practicing / preparing for this cold read audition. So I would say probably the most obvious and most practical way to practice for cold read auditions is to practice with scripts that you haven't seen before. So you could just pick up a random monologue book and just start reading out all of the characters' lines of monologues that you have never seen before. Because that's exactly what a cold read audition is. You don't see it before you get to the audition, and sometimes you don't even see it before you get into the audition room. So you may have only one chance to read the lines, so you gotta own it. So as you're practicing reading unknown scripts and monologues and stuff like that, I recommend to try practicing reading them as flowy as possible. One of the first reactions everyone gets when they pick up a random book that they haven't read before and they're trying to read it out loud, you tend to read it very choppy and word by word, which is obviously not what you want to be doing in an audition. So try reading them as fluently and flowy as possible without being choppy, even though you have never read it before. Alright, so next let's talk about tips when you actually get to the audition. By the way, as you can sort of kind of already tell, all of these tips and stuff are kind of based on a cold read audition because that's what most people have asked me advice for. But obviously you can use these tips like if you're going to a workshop or an acting class or anything like that too, just letting you know. Okay, so before you go into the audition, take some deep breaths. Don't make yourself too nervous. Really focus on why you're there. It's to audition and to impress the casting director. And the casting director does not expect you to be perfect because you just got the script that day. Number 2, when you go into the audition room, have a very positive attitude. Who knows how many people they're gonna be seeing that day. So when someone nice comes along who is happy to be there, wants to be there, it impresses them. So like even if you screw up your audition, which you won't, but if you do, you will still impress them with your happiness and confidence. Alright, so if you have any time at all, try reading through the scripts multiple times instead of trying to memorize it. It seems like whenever I go to an audition or a workshop or something, one of my key things, and probably everybody else's, is trying to memorize it, or at least know the lines as much as you can, so you don't have to worry about that. You can just focus on the character. But for cold read auditions, you don't want to sit there and try to pack your brain full of lines. Obviously it's different if it's just a teeny little monologue. But I'm talking in the sense that if you have a big old script or a big old monologue with all these different lines, it's better to know the story, the scene, and the character rather than trying to jam all those lines into your brain last minute. That will just majorly stress you out, and the casting director does not expect you to have it memorized. I promise. Okay, so number 4, make sure you slow down. Also, one of the first reactions when you're reading a scene you don't know is to hurry up because you don't know the line following it. It's a common thing to happen. I do it a lot myself. So deliver the lines slowly. Well, I guess I should say regularly. Obviously, you're not going to sit there and go, but just read it how you would read it. Number 5, listen to everything the casting director says when you walk into the audition room. You might be trying to get another read-in of the script or trying to memorize it or whatever, but what you may not be realizing is that the casting director is sitting there telling you about the script, about the character, like tips that you could use to improve your monologue when you audition. And that's actually usually what happens, at least for me, like if I have a cold read, because let me tell you, the casting director wants you to get this part. I know that sounds weird, but like just imagine sitting there watching 1,000 people audition, messing up the audition, not portraying the character right or whatever, and finally finding that one person that you know you want to have for that role. It's probably just like 1,000 of weights lifted off your shoulder. So obviously if you don't know the lines, they're probably going to give you a little bit more information about the scene and the character so you can portray it better. Number 6, again this goes with the whole thing that maybe you'll be able to read it once or twice before you get into the audition room. As you're reading it and analyzing the character, try to make a quick story of the scene and character so that you can tie that into your own interpretation of the scene. I always try to create some sort of backstory if I can. I just feel like it really helps me to be able to connect to the character more if I do that. Like reading a monologue or script is so much more than just reading lines. It's really about developing into the character you're trying to portray. When you have a backstory, it's just another bit of information in the back of your brain that plays into how you're acting and how you are saying the lines. So yeah, if you have any time at all, try to make a quick backstory, and then the casting director will give you directions on how to fix it however they please. Just go for it, girl. So yeah, those are all my tips that I have for cold readings for you guys. Cold readings can be nerve-wracking, I know. It's really so much better if you can prepare the scene and really be confident with it. But sometimes you just gotta go with the flow. So I hope that all of these tips help some of you that are going to a cold read audition or something, or if you may go to one in the future. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up so I know you did. And comment down below a video request that you would like me to film in the future. Also, please don't hesitate to ask me any questions down below concerning cold readings if you have any more questions, or really anything in general. I'm always open to answering acting related questions for you guys. Subscribe to this channel for weekly acting videos. And follow me on Twitter if you want to be in the down bar. So thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all, and I will see you in next week's video. Bye!